Hello, thank you so much for joining me. It's a pleasure to have you here. I'm Lisa Collins and we're going to get started. So I have a list. If you want the link, it's under my link under my bio. You can also find it on Facebook and you can find it on my website to these 25 pieces that I'm going to show you and explain what they're about. You can find it on my art store, and there's a special link in the top navigation on the art store where to click, so you find out what are the 25 pieces, all the specifics, the price. But any questions you have, please feel to comment, and I will be happy to answer it. This is informal, in case you haven't gathered it, but this is very informal, first one I've ever done. And so if there's little technical glitches, I apologize, but we'll do our best here and let's have some fun anyway. So I'd like to introduce this first painting. This is actually, as you can see, a cityscape. It's of Los Angeles. I lived in Los Angeles for many years. I'm going to bring it a little closer here. And so this is Dawn, one of the bridges that goes over into the city. You've got factories down there, and then one morning I saw it, and it was this beautiful gleaming buildings in contrast to the bridge, and the light was catching it, and I thought it just looked gorgeous, quite magical. And I decided, yes, I took photos and then created this painting. It's pretty big. I've got a little sheet here, which I'll keep with me here. Yeah, 24 by 36, so it's a canvas, it's acrylic. As you can see, you can just hang it on the wall. It's got a little thing up there. You just go flop, it's on your wall. Okay, 50% off. Let me know if you're interested. You can also go to my website and make the purchase. So, this is my next one. Now, I've spent a lot of time over the years in Europe, and I love the old towns in Europe. This is actually in Stockholm, Sweden, and I captured this late at night. It was about midnight, and my favorite thing is to walk along cobbled streets in old cities late at night when no one else is around. As you can see, it had just been raining, so the reflections were there, and I took photos and then later captured it, and you had the moon trying its best to come out there. And I just love Stockholm, and love in Gothenburg I went to, and yeah, it's just one of the many beautiful, beautiful cities in Europe. And number 3, Eiffel Tower in, as you know, Paris, the city of romance. Love Paris. Now I'm bringing it a little closer because I actually got this photo on a rainy day. Sometimes, you know, instead of bright, sunny, perfect conditions, you can get the best effects for photos and paintings, I believe, on those sort of darker days, rainy days, sun's going down. And if you look a little bit closer, you'll see how behind there you'll see the city in the distance. It was all misty of Paris, and all these people walking by and enjoying it. They got coats on, they hunched over, some of them. It's a bit cold, but that is Paris. And the next one, again, this is acrylic on canvas. See, it's not as thick, this canvas here, but you can put it on the wall, hang it. You don't need a frame. You can put it in a frame, but you don't have to have a frame. And this, any of you who have seen the Taj Mahal in India will know it's an amazing building. When you're there, you can't believe someone actually managed to build that. And this was some time ago. And it was one of those misty days again, and the sun was just going down, and I captured it with its allure and special magic of that moment. So that's the Taj Mahal. And again, this one is, I believe it's 20 by 24 inches. Let me double check that. But it'd be helpful if I was on the right page. Yes, It's 20 by 24 inches, number 4, and we are going to move on to, guess what? Number 5. Okay, so this one here is a little different. It's a lake view. It's actually Lake Karamoana. Yes. So Lake Karamoana, it's in New Zealand. My family had a lake house there. They live in Gisborne, New Zealand, and they had a lake house, and they'd go there. We were there at Christmas, which is summer in New Zealand, and really had a beautiful time. And I just think it was such a peaceful, tranquil area in the lake. We'd go for long walks. So that's what this is all about. It's a bit moody, a bit different, but the light's coming through. So that, if you'd like a nice long landscape, again, this is the thicker canvas, acrylic on canvas. I'll give you the exact measurements. It is 18 by 36. So it's more of a long, not too high, but long version. And 50% off. Yes. All right, so the next, we're doing another section here. It's a totally different one. It's one of my favorites though, and it's called Architectural Fusion. Now, you know, those who know me, you'll know that I love history. I love historic buildings, but I do believe, obviously, you can't save everything, you know. But what you can do is you can take a historic building and you can integrate it into a modern setting, and it still looks fine. And so I set about doing a series of paintings that showed exactly how to do that, and how I felt there was a beautiful old structure and how it integrated with the new. So I called it my artistic infusion, integration, and I'm going to start with this one here. That's the next one on the list. Okay, so that, believe it or not, that is a Jewish temple, a synagogue right in the middle of the heart of New York City. You can see the skyrise buildings behind, and it's just this beautiful building. It's actually on a thick watercolor paper. It's my signature pen and watercolor. And I'll give you a closer look, but you might wonder, what's this? I actually painted these mats myself, so I call it my floating version, because this is sort of floating. It's not the usual way to do it, but I thought I'd try something different. So it's a mat that I did, and I made these mats, so the 5 in this series, so they totally fitted with the colors and the themes. And I'll give you a closer look, see the detail in the domes and these windows, and yeah. So that is New York, old and new. And we are back to Paris. So first I'm going to leave it right here so you can see it. Notice this one I used gold paint because the dome had gold paint on it. Now this is, if anyone's been to Paris, this I discovered, and I took this photo. I sort of stumbled across it, to be honest. It's not the usual view of Paris or what you normally see, but it's one of the few views that's up high. You can see an old structure like that with the cityscape of Paris behind, and that's what I loved. This was actually, this part here was a part of a defense system, and then you have this. I'm going to show it to you. If I went back to Paris, I'd have a hard time finding where I was or where this is. So, but I know I loved it, and I took the photo, and so years later, I thought, you know what, I'm going to capture that. This is perfect for my Paris Old and New series, showing the integration of old with the new. But have a look at some of that detail. See in the, might see with the dome. We'll put a bit in the light here. yeah, the dome and some of the detail of the windows. You know, you just can't find that sort of detail in buildings these days. So it's unique. All right, that's Paris. Next one on the list is Los Angeles. Here we go. You know, here we go. There's Los Angeles. It's got its own mat. It's a floater. It's a heavy duty watercolor paper. And again, this is an area that was one of the first areas built in Los Angeles. And you had these beautiful, huge Victorians, some of the mansions, some of the wealthy barons, they built in there, and it's right next to the downtown city area of Los Angeles, as you can see there. I'm going to give you a little close-up. Get the light. You know, you see that Victorian, I love these Victorian details. This is called a Queen Anne Victorian. It's got the little, it's just a special type of Victorian, and it was built in about 1890. Then you got the city. Having lived there for so long, it looks very distinctive to me, but it's one of my favorite areas in Los Angeles. And next on the list, excuse me, we are taking you on a little bit of a tour. A few years ago, I went to Toronto, and I happened to see the old Town Hall of Toronto, and fortunately, although it's not used for the town hall, they didn't tear it down like so many others, I'm afraid to say. And instead, what they did is they, as you can see here, they built around it. There's part of the city. Look close, you'll see. I love that clock tower. This detail here. I put a little bit of copper paint. See it, fluorescent copper, so you can see it shining there, because the roof. It sort of represented that it shone in the sunlight. So that's my Toronto, old and new. And we have this one here. I'll hold that up a little bit. Any of you who have been to Detroit in Michigan? I'm in Michigan right now, Grand Rapids, Michigan. We've spent some time around Michigan, and Detroit is definitely had its trials and tribulations, and there's an area in Detroit that's really close to the downtown area. It's called Brush Park, and this house and many others, bigger, smaller, but was one of the first settlements of like back in the Victorian times in Detroit itself. It was known as the grandest area in Detroit. Well, over the years, about mid-century, I guess, last century, in the 40s, 50s, even 60s, they call it the white flight. Those rich people who owned those homes left. They wanted to go to the suburbs, and they wanted to, you know, have more land and not be crowded and not be close to the downtown. So they left, and then it went to seed, unfortunately, and many of those buildings crumbled and fell. But there's still some standing. And, you know, Detroit is going through a whole revitalization, which I'm really happy to tell you about. And this building has been saved, and so have many others. If you look closely, you will see these old buildings right here. Here on this side too. You can see some of those homes. It's sort of like there's a home and then several empty lots and a home. So it goes like that. Now they're filling that in. But they're filling them out with townhouses that are actually very appropriate. Many are brick, stone, and you know, it's going to be a beautiful area. And more people, you'll see when you go to Detroit. It's every time I go there, it looks better and better, and that's going to continue. I'm sure of that. So that is Detroit, old and new. Okay, I'm asking my technical assistant here, like. What's the time? How much time do I have?
It's 5:25.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So we're going to go into American iconic architecture. I am going to start with this one here. This is a mixed media. It's a mixed media. I took photos. I used those photos and then pasted it on here. This is acrylic paint. And if you look really closely, you'll see We the People. It's actually there in the sky. It's the Constitution. I may not be an American, but I can tell you that I really value American principles and the founding of America. I think it's one of the greatest legacies of this country. So I like to capture it, and I love the Capitol building. So that is my iconic America, number 1. And it is number 11 on that list. And then we have this one. You might be familiar with it if you've been to San Francisco. Here we go, Painted Ladies. The Painted Ladies of San Francisco. Look at that right there. And I'm happy to say that has just been sold before the show. And I can't think of a better person who this went to. This is a client of mine. I did a painting of her beautiful Queen Anne home. It's in my book, in the San Francisco series, part of my book. And Penny actually told me she walks past this scene every single day on her walk. Can you imagine living right next to this particular scene? And these 7 beautiful Victorian homes, it was amazing how they survived. They managed to survive the Great Fire of San Francisco, which really, you probably know already, it destroyed a huge part of the city, but they survived. And again, it's mixed media. It's a combination of different medias. It's on a board here, on a sturdy canvas board, and then you just frame it, put it on the wall. And the last one of my mixed media here is, put this here, right here. You've got, I don't need to tell you, Empire State Building. And it's funny, I found this old article, and it says here, the tallest building in the world opens. Funny how when you think of that, and they're surrounding it, these other buildings, but it's an incredible Art Deco style building, and I love it. So that is my New York American icon painting. And we have a couple of other iconic ones right here in my normal signature style, which is pen and watercolor. And this is more detailed. Well, it's firstly a very detailed ink pen drawing. I'm going to bring it up closer here. Yeah, can you see that? So you can see all the detail here, the dome, and yeah, so I just sort of loved it. It was early morning, and I think it was a scene. Yeah, I have to sort of move around a little bit because my screen on Facebook is different. Is that better, Bruce? Oh, okay. Is that good now? Okay, yeah. I've got my technical assistant telling me, move over, so you can see properly. Okay, so that is the iconic Capitol building at its best.
Someone's asking, how do you make the mixed media pieces?
How do I mix? Okay, well, let me show you. Give you an example. So if you take, how do I make the mixed media pieces? That was the question Bruce just asked. So I do this whole painting here with the sky, this fiery sky. I did it fiery because of the fire in San Francisco and how this city was built up through the tenacity and of local residents. And then I took this photo when I was in San Francisco, and I then cut that out and I stuck that down, and then I hand painted. So there was just outlines here, so I hand painted. So I used some watercolor here. I used the actual collage technique, and then I used acrylic here. Hence, mixed media. So that's how I do it. I hope that answers your question. And then I have lastly, in my iconic series, this lovely building. Am I in the right place, Bruce? This way? Yeah, that way. Here. Okay. And this is Philadelphia. And you Americans will know it's where that famous document was signed of independence. This is Independence Hall. And you see the detail, the clock. Love that building. As you can see, it was in the fall. So that is also testament to some of the founding principles of the country. And all right, so arts and crafts. Arts and crafts is a movement, and a very important movement. It was more like a protest in a way against the Victorian, because Americans, and also in England and other places in the world, they wanted to have more handmade, handcrafted homes that were more open, with big porches, indoor, outdoor. So I decided to take 3 leading people within the arts and crafts movement who really got it started here in America and do paintings to honor each of them. One was Albert Hubbard, and this is in Aurora, East Aurora, and it's he had an artist guild, and it was set up right there, and the Roycroft, he called it the Roycroft Campus. Can you see, is it reflecting too much, Bruce? No, it's good. So this was the print shop, and that's part of that campus. Believe it or not, you can still go up there. Bruce and I went up there. Bruce is my husband, and we went up and explored it. And they had 17 structures originally back in the early 1900s. They've still got 14, and they're in pristine condition, and you can go for tours. And so this is like an actual art guild where they had printers, and they had fine craftsmen, wood carvers, everything you can imagine right in this guild. I love the place. And other greats in this area were the Green and Green brothers. They created this, they call it the Gamble House. It's in Pasadena, California. We toured it. It's got something like 12 different woods, and it's got the most amazing interior and exterior, and it's just an absolute artistic creation. If you ever get a chance, if you haven't been there, take a tour. You'll love it. So that was the Green and Green brothers. And the other really famous person in the arts and craft movement was Gustav Stickley. You can see here, this is in White Plains, New Jersey, and this was his own personal home. And again, it was somewhere that I went with Bruce. We toured there, we looked in, I took these photos. I love this home. I love this. This would be my ideal home. That would be my studio right there. Yep. But it's a museum right now, so I guess there's not much chance of that. All right, we're coming to the end here, and this is, it's sort of like an arts and crafts style, and if you've ever looked at how they used to do it in the old days, this is not pen, this is just watercolor, and it's all 4 seasons, and it's my rare example of a print. I sold all 4 originals, and I framed it in exactly the same way, which is, this is on burlap, and there we go, and if you can see, you've got winter, spring, summer, and fall, and those are that's how they used to paint in their diaries. Back, I did a whole study of how women, and mainly women, used to paint beautiful paintings in their diaries, and it depicted the seasons, with the coming of the seasons. So that's what I did. This is what it is based on.
There's another question.
Yeah.
What is your favorite painting of everything you've created?
Oh, Lordy. That's a hard one. Let me see. Well, how long do I have to answer that? I'd say that perhaps one of my favorite is this one here, just because it's got so much meaning for me. I've read the Constitution, it's got the signers here. I mean, you have to look through the clouds. But I just feel it's not only a piece of art, but it's got a symbology and a meaning that's sort of important. And I think the more we actually respect that and go back to those basics in this country, that's everybody, no matter who, what, where they're from, doesn't matter. But I think it would be a good thing. Well, that'll be my answer, I think. Okay, and we got that. What else do we have? Okay, and a few other more random things, although it's not part of a particular series. This is a print, 50% off and going super, super cheap. Believe it or not, it's a little print. And see that? If you look real close, it's actually behind there, it's like a collage. It's on lace. And so it's a watercolor painting on lace. I thought it really applied. The lace is fantastic for a wonderful Victorian pink home in the spring. And oh, just one other quick little thing. It's not even on the list. Well, yes, it is. Excuse me. That's just a cute little thing. It's original, and it's, well, a cat in a living room, and it's arts and craft again. I'm back to arts and craft. This is the arts and craft lamp. You got the arts and craft stained glass, the furniture, and probably he's an arts and craft cat too, because he's leaning on that cushion. So it's just a cozy little one I did when it was cold outside, just because I wanted to.
Marlene says that the sky is amazing on that DC Capitol building painting.
Oh, thank you, Marlene. Thank you. Is that Marlene Glickman?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Marlene is an amazing artist. Any compliment from Marlene, I am very happy. She does fabric art, so she knows about colors. Thank you. And we have, this is for locals, especially Grand Rapids. It's a famous theater that was revived from the dead. And that area on Wealthy Street, which is just down the road from us, is now teeming with cafes and restaurants and all sorts of fun places, beautiful, unique boutiques and all that sort of thing. And that's the Wealthy Theatre. I wanted to highlight a fantastic example of historic preservation in this city, of which there's many. And also, same goes for this. It's called the Castle. It's in Heritage Hill. Heritage Hill is one of the first neighborhoods of Grand Rapids. Beautiful historic homes. A lot of Queen Anne's and Victorians and Tudors. And this is, well, as you can see, it's a castle right there. And again, this is two prints. Printed. Nope. Here we go. Look at that. They're printed on canvas, and they're two scenes of New Zealand. So I did them a while back. I like the frames. They go as a pair. I'm selling them for next to nothing because I don't want them sitting in my storage area, in my garage. I think they should be enjoyed, and I'm willing to go at some discount prices. And so if you're interested, make a comment, get back to me. I'm sure we can work something out. And lastly, not anything on the list, but I found these they were stored away. I've forgotten about them. They are inspired by the arts and craft movement. They're all arts and craft furniture because I just went through a whole phase. So there's this beautiful clock, chair, and there's the originals. They're hand drawn and then painted with a sepia ink. So here we go. Whoops, sorry. See that? The old chair. You can see. There we go. And a couple more. So I'm willing to take an offer on that. But they're beautiful, especially in a sort of home that's got a lot of wood and old craftsmanship and you know, the old chair and this beautiful lamp. I love these lamps. So that's it. All right, we have come to the end of our list. And I want to thank you very much for being here and joining in this fun activity. I hope you've got some more insight on what I'm offering. If you've got comments, if you want to get hold of me, there's the link. You can go and see them all listed. You see all 25. Plus there's those extras that I didn't mention. I'm going to be announcing tomorrow the winner of the book, My Hand Painted Homes, for anyone who turned up live. And this will be available. The filming, this will be what we just recorded here, will be available on Instagram, perhaps on my website, we'll see. But it'll be available for others to see because a lot of people can't make it at a particular time, and I understand. So again, thanks for stopping in, and I'd love to hear from you. You can also email me. Any way you want to reach me, you know I'm always accessible. Love to hear you. So thanks again, and over and out from my live garage sale. Bye for now.